Hey everybody, it's GombletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another premiere draft of Theros Beyond Death. Without further ado, let's check out our rare in this pack. It looks like it might be worth it. This is a 3-mana Saga, and then you get to mill 3 cards, exile a creature enchantment from your graveyard, and make a 2/2. You do that twice in a row, so potentially 3 mana for 2 2/2s if you are lucky. And then you get to gain X life and scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control, and the creatures that you create out of this are zombies as well. This seems pretty good. There are a lot of good escape cards in black, as well as good graveyard recursion. Cards that can return from your graveyard to the battlefield or return things from grave to hand. Could just roll with Timuret Calls the Dead here and try it out. An Axe is definitely a very powerful card for an aggressive deck, so you couldn't really go wrong scooping up an Axe here. Trying to be the aggro, but other than that, kind of a weak pack. I do like Revoke Existence and One with the Stars as solid removal. But I'm going to roll with Timuret Calls the Dead here. See if we get some self-mill going on. Pick 2 now. Not a massive fan of any of our uncommons this time. Laguna Band Storyteller does return an enchantment from graveyard to the top of your library, but since you put it on top of your library, it doesn't actually put you up a card since you have to spend your draw step redrawing that enchantment. Here are the Winds is a little bit of a small body for the cost, but if you have a lot of stuff that targets your cards as well as a pretty wide aggressive deck, that can be good. Metamized Prophecy is a pretty slow way to potentially draw a couple cards, but it is a lot of value if you get it to pop off correctly. Ichthyomorphosis is solid blue removal, and then Chimera is a pretty good escape card in green. Just give you a lot of value throughout the game by consistently replaying that. And green-black is pretty good when it comes to milling itself and getting a lot of escape value. So I kind of like Chimera here. That might be wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to just take Metamized Prophecy. I think it's between those two. I'll try out the Prophecy here. Like, when this card works correctly, you are getting good value off of it. 2 mana to scry 2 and draw 2 cards is a very good deal. The problem is you do have to get it to function correctly. You have to put in a little bit of work to draw those 2 cards. So we have Aspect of Lamprey in black, which is very filler. It's like fine. So I don't think we're taking a black card in blue. We just have Naiad of Hidden Coves, which seems fine. Memory Drain and Towering Wave Mystic seem very filler, though. Setessan Training is a solid green card. Revoke Existence is a solid white removal spell. The best cards in this pack, unfortunately, are 2-colored cards, neither of which match our 2 colors. We'd have to be taking a blue-green card and maybe going in that direction, or a blue-red card maybe going in that direction. I think both of these are pretty comparable in terms of power level. Utopia does seem very powerful for a blue-green deck, though. Blue-green, you've got a lot of decently sized creatures as well as a lot of enchantments, and this is going to make your creatures even bigger and give them flying till end of turn, which is a very powerful ability to slap onto a big green dork. So no black cards in this pack. Looks like we might be getting pushed off of Timuret Calls the Dead here, so we get to move into this potential green-blue strategy. If we want to do that, we can take Thirst for Meaning as a solid draw spell. Or one of these 2-drop creatures, a Skirmisher as a pretty weak early game creature, or a Caryatid as a potential mana ramp card. This card is very bad against some of the removal in the format, unfortunately. It's quite a small body there, just 1 toughness. Very, very bad against like Mogis' Favor. So I'm not super high on Caryatid, but if any color pair was going to use it well, it would probably be green-blue. Think, yeah, Caryatid or Thirst for Meaning. I'm going to go for the Thirst for Meaning. This seems like a pretty great draw spell. Draw 3, discard 2 at instant speed. I'm actually going to roll with that here. Now we have Deny the Divine, which is a very solid counterspell for the format, or Loathsome Chimera, which again I think is pretty solid just because of the escape ability. Normally I wouldn't love a 3-mana 4/1 because of the very low toughness, but the escape ability makes it so it's not a big deal when this trades off into a small creature, because this can recur itself and just keep coming back. So I think I like Chimera here. For blue-green a bit better than Deny the Divine. It's certainly going to work better with cards like Utopia, but Deny the Divine is a pretty sweet counterspell. It would be really, really good in a deck that has a lot of instant speed stuff like Thirst for Meaning. So it'd be really good in like a blue-red deck where we care about casting everything during our opponent's turn. Now we have not much. Naiad of Hidden Coves is fine. It's going to trigger Utopia by being an enchantment, as well as make our Thirst for Meaning or any other instance we pick up cheaper. Seems fine to me. It's between that and one of these white cards, Revoke Existence and Reverent Hoplite, both being solid. Moss Viper is an okay way to start a game. Just a little 1-mana 1/1 Death Toucher. Get in for a couple points of damage. Eventually, you just trade this up into a big creature from your opponent. We are a lot farther into blue than green now, so we could pick up Mischievous Chimera and maybe try to become the blue-red instant speed stuff deck. We have Naiad of Hidden Coves and Thirst for Meaning, which are very good in that deck. Moss Viper would just be fine for blue-green, so I guess we'll make a speculative pick here, take the Mischievous Chimera. That is a pretty late one for the potential blue-red instance deck. Huntmaster is going to be pretty filler in blue-green, just 4-mana 4/3 with a decent enter the battlefield effect. Infuriate, it's a very cheap instant for the blue-red instance deck, though. So Infuriate or Huntmaster. Honestly, I feel like it's more likely I'll be excited by Infuriate than the Huntmaster there. Now we have a Skophos War Leader for just a filler 5-drop for blue-red. Or Arena Trickster. This card really looks like it's what you're supposed to be doing in blue-red, but it's not that good, even in blue-red, I have found. Honestly, I might rather just take Memory Drain if I'm going to be blue-red instance as the strategy. Or even War Leader to just have a 5-drop. I don't know. I'll take the dorky little Trickster here. I'm very happy to take Ichthyomorphosis out of this pack. Ichthyomorphosis is the best blue common removal spell. Makes something a 0/1 fish with no abilities. So they do get a chump block out of it, but other than that, pretty dang solid. Now we get to take another Naiad of Hidden Coves. Pretty big fan of this. Not a big fan of Final Flare. You need some very expendable creatures or enchantments to make this valuable. So definitely need a lot of work done for Final Flare to look good. Alright, well we can definitely be the blue-red instance deck. Now we get to play an Underworld Fires if I want to have the main deck sideboard card that's really good against cards like Loathsome Chimera, these 1 toughness cards that can escape. Ooh, wow. Oh, this pack is absolutely loaded in blue-red. Wow. We have Illyrios at uncommon, which is an insanely good deal. 3 mana for a 3/2 reflection. Once that reflection dies, you then untap your 2/3 Illyrios. So 3 mana for a 3/2 and a 2/3 is pretty ridiculous. But then there's Dreamstalker Manticore, which is really good in the casting spells during opponent's turn deck. You get to use this as multiple little tricks or removal spells with that 1 damage. And then there's Phoenix of Ash, which is just a busted magic card that saw a ton of play in Standard. Just a massive, aggressive, flying threat. Ridiculously good card. We kind of have to take Phoenix of Ash here, but I would be an incredibly happy camper if we can wheel Illyrios or Dreamstalker Manticore. Doesn't seem particularly likely that that'll happen. So now we're in pack 2, pick 2, and our stuff has dried up really quickly. We could take a 3rd Arena Trickster, which does not seem good, a 1st Nyxborn Seaguard, which also doesn't seem good, and then a Skophos Maze Warden, which is very filler. 4 mana for a 3/4 with a decent little ability to swap power and toughness till end of turn. You can make it a 4/3 or a 5/2 or anything like that. But it's not that good. Honestly, maybe we were supposed to just take a speculative pick here like Skola Grove Dancer in case we get pushed back to blue-green enchantments, or even Nylea's Forerunner. It seems unlikely. I'm going to take the Maze Warden here. Wow. Well, pretty sure we take Dreamstalker Manticore here because it works really well for our strategy. Being able to damage things if we're casting spells during our opponent's turns. It's also just a very high power creature for the cost. But Nylea would be pretty exciting if we push back to blue-green. Don't think it's happening though. I mean, we literally just took a red rare. Maybe we somehow end up in red-green with Nylea. I don't know. I don't think I'm going that direction. I'm going to take the Dreamstalker Manticore here. Alright. Portent, Towering Wave Mystic, Sleep of the Dead, all of those are very filler. Celebrant, though, seems pretty solid. A 2 mana, 2/1, dealing 2 damage to something when it dies. Making sure it's going to trade with something when it dies. Dreadful Apathy is the best card in the pack. Final Death is also pretty good. That's a bit rough. Some very good off-color stuff. Okay, so here I am very happy to take Omen of the Sea, or even Glimpse of Freedom might be interesting here. For an instant speed card, we can potentially escape later in the game, so we can just keep recasting this and make sure we always have instants during our opponent's turn. I think Omen of the Sea is just way better initially, But if the game goes long, we can escape a Glimpse of Freedom a few times, that'll be really good. One with the Stars is also solid removal, and Witness of Tomorrow is just a great flyer. This is a really rough pick, but I'm going to go with Omen of the Sea. Just make sure we have really good instant speed stuff. Omen of the Sea is just a great card, even if you don't care about instants, and it's pretty important when you do. Now we have Mill if we want to go for Mill deck. I don't think I do. Irreverent Revelers is not a card I'm very happy with. We could take a Traveler's Amulet to potentially splash something, or just the 3 mana 3/2 to fill out the curve. I'll just slam a 3/2 in here, I guess. Another 3 mana 3/2, another Glimpse of Freedom. This time it's much easier to take because it's between that, a Turtle, and a War Leader. I suppose Turtle is theoretically playable in this strategy, but I'd probably rather have Glimpse of Freedom. Alright, another Ichthyomorphosis for some filler removal. It's between that and a Portent and a Hero of the Games. The Portent is solid if you are playing some Sacrifice outlets, but we are not, so I'm just going to take the Ichthyomorphosis. Well, there's a Sacrifice outlet, Scophos War Leader, so if we see a bunch more Portents, maybe if we have 1,000,000 War Leaders, we can consider playing them. Third Arena Trickster, I'm going to try pretty hard not to play those, though. I think our other Instance Matter cards are much more impactful, especially Dreamstalker Manticore, but Mischievous Chimera as well. Chain of Memory actually does not seem bad for this match, or for this kind of deck, this matchup. Little trick, -4/-0 to something, and scry 2 at instant speed. 1 mana instant scry 2. I mean, you're not drawing a card off of it, which isn't good, but if you're caring about casting things during opponent's turn, that'll be pretty sweet. Now we've got double Glimpse of Freedom as well, so we can definitely trigger that kind of stuff at no major cost to us. This pack looks like it's pretty easily going to be a Whirlwind Denial. This seems like a solid counterspell. 3 mana instant. It's almost guaranteed to counter whatever you're trying to counter. There is a second Eutropia, though. That could have been a pretty cool blue-green deck today. Elite Instructor has a pretty nice Enter the Battlefield effect. It's probably the second best card here. But again, Final Flare is a bit hard to use. Rapid Flames, you got to be aggressive. Taking a Whirlwind Denial. Rolling with it here. Got 23 cards now, so everything we take now is just to improve the deck. So that's really nice. For the start of pack 3 here, every single pick that we take, we just get to cut our weakest card, make the deck a little bit better. Good place to be. This deck doesn't look massively exciting or anything, but we've got a whole pack to go to finish it up. Witness of Tomorrow is awesome here. I don't think Storm Herald does much of anything. When it enters the battlefield, you can return any number of auras from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to your creatures. Exile them during your end step. Yeah, that's weird. That's definitely not the kind of thing we're doing. It is a 3 mana 3/2 haste, but that's not super worth it here. This is a pretty easy Witness of Tomorrow's. Great card to have at the top end of your curve because it's a big flyer, a 3/4 flying body, and it gives you the activated ability to use if you're flooding out. Just keep scrying, get those lands out of the way. Great card. The weakest part about it is that it's an enchantment, so it dies to a bit more removal than non-enchantment stuff. Oh yeah, this pack is going to be the payoff here. We only have 2 2-mana creatures, so we might be interested in some more. I don't know if we're interested in them enough to take Underworld Ragehound over Illyrios Enraptured, which would be phenomenal, but so would Omen of the Forge in this deck. Instant speed spell, so we can cast it during our opponent's turn, and it's nice cheap removal, and it gives us some scry. This pack's a really hard choice between Illyrios, Omen of the Forge, and Underworld Ragehound. How's our creature count looking? We've got 13 creatures. That is a little low, and Illyrios is going to be a very, very good one. Maybe it's supposed to be Illyrios here over Omen of the Forge. I don't love that, but they're both very strong cards. So we're going to up that creature count with Illyrios here. Another Thirst for Meaning seems pretty good for this deck. Not super high on Stampede Rider in this build, or another Hero of the Games. Definitely not a Blood Aspirant. We're not the red-black sacrifice deck. So yeah, Thirst for Meaning seems pretty easy here. And if we wanted another copy of Chain to Memory, we can pretty easily wheel that, I think. Have that go around the draft pod. Another Omen of the Sea seems awesome to me. Shoalkraken's pretty solid, though, at 5 mana. Think I'd prefer another Omen of the Sea. I do just really like that card. But a 5-mana 3/5 that lets us draw a card and discard a card every time we play an enchantment is pretty good. So yeah, Omen, Shoal Kraken. I'm gonna go for the Omen. Might be a bit greedy though. Another Omen of the Sea. I have 2 Omens and 2 Glimpse of Freedoms for 2-mana instant speed spells right now. I kind of want to go Incendiary Oracle over Omen of the Sea here, because we don't have a lot of cheap creatures, like 2-mana creatures, and Incendiary Oracle is a really good one, because you're always happy to trade this off early, because this trades well into cards like Discordant Piper that does something when it dies, or Underworld Ragehound that would escape when it dies, because the Oracle's going to exile all those cards, so they don't get to use their effect. Oh wow, we get an Illyrios Enraptured. Pick 7 here, very happy with that. Get in the deck. Get right in here. Not much going on here. A Dorky, 5-mana 7/3, very low toughness for 5 mana, just trades into 1 3-mana creature from your opponent. Or there's Eidolon of Philosophy, which doesn't have enough power to matter at all, because your opponent's just going to play 2/2s and this will never block well. Neither of these cards are very likely to make the cut. I guess I'll throw an Eidolon in the sideboard. Now we have Elite Instructor, which is a fine enter the battlefield effect, or Final Flare, which I guess is an instant. And it's fine if you have a lot of Omens in your deck. We do have 2 at least. I don't know, our 3-drop creature slot is pretty full, so I don't think I'll have room for Elite Instructor anyway. So we'll speculate on a Final Flare, but probably not play it. I had a really bad time with Flummox Cyclops yesterday, but I'm probably not playing another Chain to Memory, so I'll pick it up, but I'm probably cutting it. Ooh, Shoal Kraken, pick 13. I don't know what I took over the Shoal Kraken, but I'm happy I did, because now I can just have both of them. Wow, that was a nice wheel. I'm pretty happy to see that Shoal Kraken. Okay, we get to cut 11 cards out of here. We really made a deck here. Lots of options on how we want to finish this one off. Go ahead and get all these card styles off. Okay, so what are we going to do? Cutting 11 cards. We already have 19 creatures. We can definitely cut a stack of those. Don't know about main decking Underworld Fires. If this were best of 3 draft, I would be so happy that I had one of this card, because it is very good against decks that are running Loathsome Chimeras and the 2-mana 3/1 Undercity Ragehound or whatever. But I don't think this is main deckable. Just that 1 damage. There's going to be a lot of matchups where that doesn't kill anything, so I'm going to cut that right off the bat. I'm going to consider cutting the Final Flare, because we really need expendable stuff for it. We do have 2 Omen of the Seas, but still be a bit risky. Definitely like having a lot of instants here. Sleep of the Dead doesn't seem super good. Just lock down some creatures. Seems like a pretty slow card. Don't love these Arena Tricksters. Oh, I've got another card style to turn off here. I've never managed to have these Arena Tricksters pop off, but we do have a lot of instant speed stuff going on in this deck, so this deck has the potential for those to do stuff. What else do we have? Stampede Rider definitely doesn't work in here. We don't have a lot of creatures of power 4 or greater, so that's probably a snap cut. Don't have a lot of cards that target our own creatures, so I don't like Hero of the Games much either. We also have a ton of stuff at 3 mana, so I think these 2 are easy cuts immediately. When we look at our 5-drops, Shoal Kraken and Witness of Tomorrows are definitely pretty great. And then Skillful War Leader is just like okay, so we can consider cutting the War Leader. I can consider cutting the Flummox Cyclops. I think I'd rather cut Flummox Cyclops before I cut all of my Arena Tricksters. So I think we're definitely going to cut the Cyclops. It just played very, very poorly in my last deck, so cut the Cyclops. Kind of do want to cut a Trickster or 2 still, though. Maybe cut War Leader, cut 1 Trickster. If I cut 2 Tricksters, how many creatures do I have? 14 creatures right now. It's going to be kind of a low creature count deck, but that's pretty okay because our spells are all pretty good and we've got a lot of card draw that can make sure we keep hitting our creatures anyway. So 4 cuts here. Glimpse of Freedom doesn't do much. but there's not much of a cost of running it, because for 2 mana it immediately replaces itself. But when we have 2 Omen of the Seas that do the same thing but better, and 2 Thirst for Meanings that are a little more expensive but very impactful in terms of their card draw, Glimpse of Freedom definitely does look a little bit unexciting. Metamized Prophecy actually doesn't look great in this deck because it's sorcery speed card draw, and we have a lot of instant speed card draw. So Metamized Prophecy actually does look kind of weak in this deck. I'm probably going to cut that. Final Flare doesn't look great. I don't have a ton of super expendable creatures, and I only have 2 Omens for it. Problem is we don't have a lot of removal, so we might want to run it anyway. We just have 2 Ichthyomorphosis and 1 Whirlwind Denial. 2 removal spells, 1 counter spell. I think I'm just going to bank on that. I'm going to hope for the best out of those. I don't want to run this Final Flare. Seems like just a lot of downside potentially to running that. When I've got double Glimpse of Freedom, I think Chain to Memory looks a lot weaker. Just scry 2 instead of draw a card. Sure, it's less mana, and maybe it does get a good combat trick out of it, but I don't know. I think I'm much happier with Glimpse than I am Chain to Memory. Maybe we even lower down to just 1 Glimpse of Freedom here, because then we still have double Omen of the Sea, double Thirst for Meaning, 1 Glimpse of Freedom. That's still plenty of instant speed stuff. We've got Infuriate, Glimpse of Freedom, double Omen of the Sea, double Thirst for Meaning, and Whirlwind Denial. 7 instant speed cards. Would love to have some instant speed creatures, but I didn't see any of the 3 mana 2/2 flyers that you can cast at instant speed, but those are pretty sweet for this kind of deck. This deck looks pretty sweet. Alright, so here we are with the final build of the deck. This is a blue-red flash deck. We've got a couple Naiad of Hidden Coves making our instants cheaper, a Dreamstalker Manticore and Mischievous Chimera to ping our opponent as we cast instants, and a couple Arena Tricksters to maybe get bigger as we cast our instant speed spells. For our instant speed spells, we have a ton of card draw, Glimpse of Freedom, double Omen of the Sea, and double Thirst for Meaning, and then we've got a counter spell as well, Whirlwind Denial there. Other than that, a little bit of evasion, some powerful flyers like the Chimera and the Phoenix of Ash, Witness of Tomorrows as well, and a little bit of removal like Ichthyomorphosis. So we're going to try to put some pressure on with some decently sized cheap creatures. Use a lot of card draw to make sure we can overwhelm our opponent with some extra cards, and maybe get some instant speed flash synergies going on as well. So I'm excited to see how this deck pans out. Let's hop into the gameplay. So here we are in game 1, and it definitely looks like the synergies are going to pan out this game. We've got Mischievous Chimera into an Omen of the Sea to play at instant speed. So this Chimera can start scrying and making sure we keep hitting what we need to close out this game. Ephemia, the Cacophony, is the first play from our opponent. That is absolutely terrifying. Definitely looking to dig into and out for that like Ichthyomorphosis. This is a 2 mana 2/1 flyer that can potentially keep spitting out 2/2 zombies if they have enchantment cards in their graveyard. And Trident of the Elysian Grove is their turn 3 play, allowing them to play an additional land every turn, so they could overwhelm us really quickly here with the amount of spells they could maybe play. There's the Ichthyomorphosis to deal with Ephemia. We probably do want to just do this right now to play it safe. That'll also let us get a couple damage in, since our Mischievous Chimera is not going to block well anyway. So our opponent has their 4 mana up here with the Dryad. They could play a 5th and 6th land if they have them in hand. But that would make them pretty low on cards if all they've drawn is a lot of lands. Might not matter though if they can go land 6-drop. Nexus Wardens is going to be the play, a 1/4 reach, and a Grim Physician. So just a bunch more cheap cards here that aren't going to be particularly threatening. They are going to stop me from attacking in with Mischievous Chimera, though. Unfortunately, no 4th land for us. I would have loved to be able to drop Arena Trickster here before we start trying to draw a bunch of cards. I really want to hit my land drop for this turn, so I kind of want to main phase a Thirst for Meaning, even though it loses a little bit of that Chimera value. We won't do the damage, we won't get the scry. Yeah, I really want to hit land for turn here. And we'll discard Naiad as our one discard. And we'll pass turn. Attacking isn't going to deal any damage, it'll just get blocked by Nexus Wardens. Transcendent Envoy from our opponents. And Discordant Piper. Well, Dryad of the Elysian Grove has certainly allowed our opponent to just dump their hand out really quickly here. We start just playing some solid-sized blockers, though. It should be pretty hard for our opponent to get in, so let's just start getting some big creatures down. Get this Shoal Kraken down. Really setting up some blocks. Our opponent does have 5 mana of any color available, so that's pretty much any removal spell in the set to get rid of our Shoal Kraken. If they draw into it, looks like no removal yet, so we get the board state on lock for now. Do like Witness of Tomorrow's here, again, just keep playing our biggest creatures, make sure we've got the board state all set up, and this way we get a Constellation trigger off the Shoal Kraken to draw and discard a card there. And soon enough, we get to start beating in a little bit. The 3-4 reach means we're not going to attack profitably for a while. They're just going to keep bouncing off each other. But maybe next turn we drop Arena Trickster and hold up our mana for Omen of the Sea. Just try to get that Trickster big enough to start basically edicting our opponent, making them keep sacrificing creatures to chump block it. So there's Arena Trickster down, and that's going to be our threat here. Probably going to cast Omen of the Sea. I suppose we could cast Thirst for Meaning instead. That would be fine. Sure, let's cast Thirst for Meaning here. Play the land, cast Thirst for Meaning. Cast it during their turn again to get the +1/+1 counter on the Trickster. And deal the damage with Chimera. Main deck Plummet. Well, that's good against our deck. For sure. You have to worry a little about milling here. This is a format where you can, in a self-mill style strategy, play more than 40 cards. That can be the right thing to do often. And that is what our opponent has chose to do. They've got 38 cards left in the deck right now. But this is a format with the amount of card draw, self-mill, that kind of stuff available, plus the fact that the format does play a little slow. The games can come down to who mills out first. Okay, so we're going to Thirst for Meaning now. Buff the Trickster. Get our Scry 1. Infuriate is the pickup. I'm going to keep that, so it makes it easier for Trickster to attack in well. We're going to draw 3. We have to discard Omen of the Sea or 2 cards. I'd rather discard 2 lands than one of these 2 Omen of the Seas. Alright, so it is important to remember that our cards that care about doing something at instant speed only trigger once per turn. They care about the first spell during opponent's turn. So we're definitely not going to double Omen of the Sea. Let's play a Naiad here. So these Omens are cheaper and we draw discard. And then, do I send in the Arena Trickster and just hold up and Infuriate here? I think I'm okay with that. They can get around it by blocking with a lot of creatures, but if they block with a lot of creatures, we're getting a lot of stuff out of the way and just starting to kill them with our other creatures instead of Arena Trickster. I would expect them to block with like their 0/1 Ephemia or something, or their Discordant Piper since it makes a goat. Go for a double block here, going to give it -1/-1 with Grim Physician. It's not going to be lethal until Grim Physician triggers. But it's not like they can give something else -1/-1 anyway, so we might as well just Infuriate right now. No reason to wait on that. Definitely saving Arena Trickster either way. I actually do have to be really worried about milling myself out here. because we have Shoalkraken to draw this card, we have double Omen of the Sea, which draws a card. Gotta be really, really worried about that. Play pretty diligently. I'm actually just gonna stop using Shoalkraken, because every time we use Shoalkraken, we mill 1. Draw a discard that lowers our deck size by 1. So I'm just gonna stop using Shoalkraken at this point. 17 cards left and 2 more card draw spells still. We can just do a lot of scrying. I mean, these are going to scry 2 when we play them. They'll scry 2 again later. Mischievous Chimera is going to scry 1. Okay, so they're going to hit us with the Harpy here. Pretty fine with that. We'll take 2. Down to 13. This Moss Viper is an issue we need to deal with before Arena Trickster can get in. Two Illyrios. Well, one of them would be fine. It wouldn't be great, but it'd be fine. Glimpse of Freedom. I might want to change the deck after this. We probably have too much card draw, not enough win conditions. We might even want the 3rd Arena Trickster. This is weird. So we need to deal with this Moss Viper. How many ways do we have to deal with it in our deck? We've got Dreamstalker Manticore, Ichthyomorphosis, so 2 ways left in the deck. How many cards have we scryed to the bottom? 2 of them. We definitely want to cast all our scry and stuff during our opponent's turn so we can damage them. I think we just wait. We just pass for now. I should have played Illyrios. There was no reason not to play Illyrios there. Right, because I have 7 mana here. I'm going to spend 3 on the Omen of the Sea Scry, but I'll still have plenty more to cast all of this stuff. Harpy's coming in again. Let's scry here. Whirlwind Denial. Our opponent only has 6 mana out. They only have 5 mana out. That's not actually bad. But I do need to get rid of Moss Viper, so probably put it on the bottom. We're just digging for ways to get rid of Moss Viper. Now we Omen of the Sea, probably. So we have the Scry 2 again if we need it. Phoenix of Ash, we're going to snap keep that. That will close out the game really quickly. Just keep escaping it from the grave if it manages to die. So they can double block Phoenix of Ash with Wardens and Transcendent Envoy, but then we kill both of them, and then we just keep bringing Phoenix back. I'm gonna take this trade, actually. I don't think we need that card anymore. Now we have Dreamstalker Manticore as well. Okay, now we're just set up. We are set up. So we attack him with Phoenix of Ash. We'll need to buff it to kill the Wardens. I guess we won't kill both of their creatures. We'll only kill the Wardens here, awkwardly enough. Huh. If that's the case, do I wait till I have all my mana untapped to attack in with it? Maybe. I'm actually going to Dreamstalker Manticore here and just kill the Viper for now. Whoa. Just trying to skip through my turn. Okay. Well, that's a problem. Yeah, Enemy of Enlightenment is a bit of a problem. Okay, so let's shoot the Moss Viper. Careless Celebrant is the draw. We've got 3 cards in hand, so enemy's just a 2/2. Could Glimpse of Freedom in response to the trigger to kill Enemy of Enlightenment? That's probably the play. But we send in the Phoenix now because we have the mana to kill whatever they're blocking with. No blocks. So our plan is to Glimpse of Freedom during their turn, which means we need 3 mana up. So spend the mana that we've got on some extra damage here. I guess we need 2 mana up because of Naiad's ability. Either way, we can't play a card in our hand, or we're not going to be able to kill enemy, because that gets -1/-1 for each card in our hand. So we go end turn. Its ability goes on the stack. We respond with Glimpse of Freedom. Dreamstalker Manticore will kill it, because it's now going to be 1 toughness, because we'll have 4 cards in hand. Alright, now it's gone. Cool. We do still have to discard the card, though. So we'll discard a land. Okay, now that all that's gone, now we get to start attacking with Trickster and Phoenix of Ash. And I think we could have attacked with Trickster last turn as well, but there's a lot going on. My brain is mush already. 10 cards left in the deck, but I think we're closing this one out. I think we are closing this one out now, especially because we have a second Trickster now. And we have the Glimpse of Freedom. Just pop off as much as we need to keep making them bigger. Definitely like the one of Glimpse of Freedom. That certainly has put in some work here. Okay. Goes to our turn, we draw into Ichthyomorphosis. Interesting, but unnecessary. Send these 2 in. No blocks. We're going to spend 4 mana on a Trickster, and we'd like to have mana up for an instant, but it's not necessary. Yeah, we'll play it safe and hold the mana up for an instant, because that triggers Dreamstalker Manticore, which might matter. I was gonna say, I don't think I'm gonna Glimpse just to make Trickster a 4/4, but if I make Trickster a 4/4 and kill their 0/1 goat, or just damage them, it could be worth it. So they're gonna scoop it up now because they see the writing on the wall. We've got just pretty ridiculous stack of synergy on the board. These cards are just keep getting bigger, shooting our opponent, all that kind of stuff. With cards like Glimpse of Freedom, we can just keep recasting. So that'll be 1-0. Really, really interesting game 1 there. I'm actually going to potentially change the deck a little bit here. I might cut one of these draw 3 discard 2s to put in something else. I feel like we were doing really good on card draw that game, but that could have also just been how it managed to roll out there. But yeah, I could actually see a 3rd Arena Trickster being kind of the nuts in here. Maybe we play that over a second Illyrios. Double Illyrios was a little awkward. We didn't even cast the first one. Let's actually just go 3 Trickster, 1 Illyrios. We don't need any Sad Boy Hours. I don't know, Sad Boy Hours is strong. Yeah, I'm going to go with my initial thought and cut the 1 Thirst of Meaning here. We've got the Shoal Kraken as well, potentially drawing, discarding a ton. Might be a bit much. Alright, so here we are on the play with Incendiary Oracle turn 2. If we get really lucky and we hit a mountain here, Phoenix of Ash turn 3, could be a very aggressive start. But if we hit literally any land, then we can cast the rest of our hand, which is pretty powerful. Definitely a keep here. Alright, opponent plays a forest, and we did draw the mountain that we need, so we can drop a Phoenix of Ash turn 3 if we want it. Turn 3 on the play as well. Turn 2 from our opponent. I'd love to see an Elysian Carry added here, the 1/1 that can tap for a mana of any color, since we could attack into that pretty freely. Be very unhappy to see a 2/3 for 2 mana. That's pretty horrible, because now Oracle's not getting in for damage this turn. Phoenix of Ash still can, though, because that does not have reach. But yeah, 2 mana 2/3. I was going to say a 2 mana 2/2 I would have been unhappy with, but a 2 mana 2/3 is very bad. Luckily, our Oracle does threaten to buff up and trade into the spinner, so it can start attacking in the future, now that we don't need to play a haste creature. So we just always attack into it, threaten to buff it up, and if they don't block, then we just cast another creature. Something like that. Destiny Spinner actually completely shuts off our Whirlwind Denial and makes their creatures and enchantments uncounterable. So we actually really want to trade off with that, because otherwise they essentially made us discard a card here, made our Whirlwind Denial completely useless. Or most likely useless. The strongest cards in the format are all creatures and enchantments. Alright, Naiad of Hidden Coves. That's probably going to be the play this turn, because we have no reason to hold up Whirlwind Denial. It's just not going to counter anything important. If they block with Destiny Spinner, then the play is to just buff Oracle. But if there's no blocks here, Naiad it is. Alright, no blocks. Hit for 4, they're down to 14, and here's a Naiad. With 2 Naiads out, they actually stack really well, because that'll mean next turn I can spend the mana on a Naiad and hold up a Whirlwind Denial for a single blue mana. Not going to matter unless they cast a non-creature, non-enchantment spell, but it's still neat. There is an uncounterable Arasta thanks to Destiny Spinner. 3/5 reach, and whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, they get a 1/2. That is very good against our deck, and I think we have to just spend the turn casting Ichthyomorphosis to shut that down. So I shall. Yeah, and that means we don't get to attack with Incendiary Oracle, because I did not hit a land to buff it. I could attack with Naiad, but it just bounces off Spinner, so there's no point. Yeah, we get to cast Glimpse for 1 thanks to this Naiad. Now that we shut off Arasta's ability, we don't have to worry about them getting free spiders by us doing that. So I suppose there is that. Fairies Band Brawler, also uncounterable. Comes down, gives us the smackdown. They get to kill whichever creature of ours they want to. Phoenix of Ash, the pretty obvious choice here. It will take a little while, but we could potentially escape that later. We need 3 other cards in our grave. I will double block Destiny Spinner all day long if they want to send it in. They are still in combat here, so they might be considering it. I am snap blocking here. They are tapped out. This is just going to be Destiny Spinner for Incendiary Oracle to trade, which is a trade I've been hoping would happen for a long time now. So I'm very happy with this. Now our Whirlwind Denial might actually get to do something. Plus our graveyard's a little bit more full for Phoenix of Ash. There's now 2 other cards. We only need 1 more card in grave to bring Phoenix of Ash back to the board, bigger than ever. So we only have lands, Naiad, and Whirlwind Denial here, which makes this just a scripted turn. Naiad, hold up Whirlwind Denial, that is all we can do. Another land from our opponent. They have a ton of mana here. Hopefully not enough to pay for a Whirlwind Denial on whatever they want to cast this turn. It's a 4 mana card. They have 3 mana up afterwards, and that is a very important card to counter, so we're going to counter that unless they pay 4. If we don't counter this, they can pick up Erasta back to their hand and recast her through our Ichthyomorphosis. And now we have enough cards in our graveyard to bring Phoenix of Ash from the graveyard back to the battlefield. Try to use that to close out the game. So now we're only worried about the 2 cards in their hand, because on board we can double block a Fairies Band Brawler, and we only lose one of our 2/3s, and then we just play a Phoenix of Ash, and Phoenix of Ash wins it on board. So it all depends on what's in their hand. Current board state, we're potentially winning here. Dreamstalker Manticore is a pretty interesting one. Don't have enough cards in grave to cast Phoenix of Ash without exiling Glimpse of Freedom, which is a bit awkward. It's a bit awkward. It's probably still worth it. It's probably the play this turn. Put a lot of pressure on them, hitting them for 3, putting them down to 9. The thing I don't like about that is Dreamstalker Manticore is a lot better when we have a card like Glimpse of Freedom in grave. I think I still just go for it, though. Come on out, Phoenix of Ash. This ends the game really quickly, because next turn it hits them for 7. If they don't deal with it or play a reach creature this turn. So 3 cards in our opponent's hand still, and they have a lot of mana up. So Test and Training is going to be the play. Just draw a card here, see if they can hit something good. Does not change the board state in any way, but it will dig them towards an answer. Currently, the Fairies Band Brawler still just gets double blocked by both of our Naiads. Renata's a big one. Renata's an 8/3 currently, thanks to their devotion to green. I mean, we double block the Brawler and we reduce their devotion by 3, so yeah, they don't even attack in with it. Phoenix of Ash is going to kill them in 2 attacks either way, so we probably just buff it once on this attack, so we can play a Dreamstalker Manticore as well this turn. Played a little safe that way. Because again, I mean, we hit for 5, put them to 4, just hit them for 5 again next turn and they're dead. So we might as well play a Dreamstalker Manticore here. Get some more blockers, because they do have 13 power on their board. Moment of truth here. Opponent has drawn their card for turn. If it is not a way to deal with Phoenix of Ash, they are dead on board. They're going to sacrifice Wolf Willow Haven to get a 2/2 Wolf, which will be a 3/3 thanks to Renata's ability, putting a counter on every creature they play. There is the all attack here. Go for the best blocks on board and see what happens. Alright, all the blocks go in our favor. Sends to our turn. Phoenix of Ash is on board. Attack buff. There's the concession from our opponent. That'll be 2-0. Phoenix of Ash really taking it that game. Very good stuff from that card. Actually, I think in both games. First game we got down to like 10 cards in our library and drew into a Phoenix, which was super sweet. Yeah, great stuff from the Phoenix of Ash. Here we are, game 3, 2-0 thus far. Hand is a little slow, starts on 3 mana, but it has some very powerful plays from then on. Illyrios is always going to be a great turn 3 play. Get our 3/2 reflection token. There's a Phoenix of Ash coming up, potentially. Do need another red source for that, though. Opponents on green-black, they'll start with Setessan Skirmisher. Things are a little awkward here. We have the red source to play Phoenix of Ash, but do I want to get that aggressive, or do I want to play the really great defensive play of Illyrios here? Green-black can play the long game really well, but I think our deck can as well. I don't know. I feel like when you've got the ability to play the Phoenix of Ash, probably supposed to just run it out. But I do really like the idea of playing Illyrios, getting a 3/2, just trading that into the Skirmisher and still having a 2/3 left behind. Like, that seems spicy. Alright, unfortunately for us, Timuret is just screaming. So, Timuret's a really bad time. It's an incredibly good card in this format, because it's just going to exile every escape card from your opponent's grave, so our Phoenix of Ash can never come back from the grave, unless we can kill Timuret before our Phoenix of Ash dies. So yeah, Timuret's just a very rude card in this format. A very, very powerful card to take early, if you see it. I'm going to go for an Arena Trickster here, see if we can set up this card to get pretty big, because if they don't get a Constellation trigger here, they don't have good attacks, and they didn't get a Constellation trigger unless they have a 1-mana enchantment. So yeah, Arena Trickster manages to shut off the blocks while threatening to become very big as the game progresses. So I kind of like Naiad into Omen of the Sea during their turn. Arena Trickster's already big enough to 2-for-1 trade, so I think we can attack both and then go for post-combat Naiad. Yeah, this is going to be sweet. Post-combat Naiad, and now again, they can't attack unless they get a Constellation trigger. And we get to cast an Omen of the Sea during their turn now, making our Arena Trickster a 4-4. They're at 9 life already, and we're potentially threatening some big attacks next turn. Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Well, that's pretty good. It's not a Constellation trigger, so we don't have to worry about attacks, but they're going to drain us for 4 life, and they're going to gain 4 life. So we're down to 13. They're up to 13 from just that, which is pretty huge. 2 mountains. Don't really want these. I'm going to scry them to the bottom. Draw a card here. Get an island. And a Careless Celebrant. So with 2 Naiads on the board, we can make our Whirlwind Denial cost 1, but it only has to cost 2 to be castable after a 3-drop, so it's probably better to just go Illyrios, hold up Whirlwind Denial. We could even just buff the Phoenix of Ash and hold up Whirlwind Denial, honestly. So our attacks with Arena Trickster aren't very good anymore because they can block with 2 2-4s and we only get to kill 1 of them. That being said, we could kill Timuret. Like, we get to kill Grey Merchant, that would take 4 damage, and then Timuret would turn into a 2-2, but a 2-2 with no damage on it, or we can kill Timuret, and then 0 damage goes to Grey Merchant. We can't do anything tricksy there to kill it. I don't think it's worth it. Honestly, I don't think the Arena Trickster attack's worth it here. I think we attack with Phoenix of Ash. We might just not even play another creature. Like, is Illyrios even going to get in? The 3-2 Reflection's never going to hit them. So we might as well get extra damage in, I think. Kind of weird there. Just give it the 1 buff and hold up our instant. So we can counter their spell and make Arena Trickster bigger. Warbriar Blessing is a spell we can't counter because they have the 4 mana up. Absolutely demolished. Now Timuret gets to exile Phoenix of Ash from our grave. I can counter Timuret's ability, but then they can just do it again. That was brutal. Warbriar Blessing was definitely the right card to have there. If their removal cost 1 more mana, we could have got them really big time, like if it was Final Death. And now they just got us hard because we didn't even get to cast a spell during their turn anymore. That was disgusting. Dreamstalker Manticore is pretty disgusting, though. We get that on the board. Hold up our Whirlwind Denial. Can do some pretty big things for us. It's like our opponent's still not attacking in. We just aren't attacking them either. So now we're focused on getting this Arena Trickster as big as possible. That's the removal we wanted to see. So Whirlwind Denial is still pretty good against that, even if we are using it a turn later. Mystic Repeal. Alright, we still get the 1 damage. And get that out of here. They only have 4 power on their board, so now Arena Trickster does get to start attacking. So we definitely will do that. They can't kill Trickster. All they can hope to do is chump here. Oh yeah, they've got 6 toughness. We can't kill the 2/6 either. But we could threaten a trick there. But our opponent was smart enough to know there was no trick. I'm going to make the board wide here. Our opponent's on black-green. I feel like they probably have another removal spell. At least Forerunner isn't a removal spell. Maybe it would have been better to just play a flyer there. So I'm going to say we play a flyer there, then we are definitely getting in. Ichthyomorphosis makes something a 0-1 with no abilities. With Warbriar Blessing, it's going to make it a 0-3 with no abilities. If we want to put it on Grey Merchant, if we put it on Forerunner, what are we doing? We're not really getting in no matter what. I guess our only hope to actually attack in this turn is to put Ichthyomorphosis on the Grey Merchant to make it a 0-3. And then we could attack with Trickster, but it'll just trade for Forerunner, which isn't great. Yeah, I think I just play Witness of Tomorrows and hope they still have no removal. So I feel like they didn't last turn, or they would have just killed Trickster. So fingers crossed, Witness of Tomorrow, getting in there. Closing out this game with our flying threats. Mantle of the Wolf, good lord, +4/+4. Trample. Trample is huge. And when that creature dies, they get 2/2/2 wolves. Okay, the trample's from the Forerunner, I guess. So if we get rid of the Forerunner, we don't have to worry about the Grey Merchant's trample in the future. No attacks, though. We're still very worried about our board state. Well, we can start closing things out with our Arena Trickster. But if I Ichthyomorphosis this Grey Merchant, it's now going to be a 0/1 with +4/+6. So it'll be a 4/7. We shut off Forerunner here, I think. Yeah, I think we shut off Forerunner so we don't have to worry about Trample anymore, and then we can definitely get things closed out with Witness of Tomorrows. Getting rid of Trample's pretty big. Pretty big. Alright, Timuret gets to keep gaining life throughout this game. Every time it exiles a creature, another Foreigner tramples right back. The trample is back in action. They pass through the turn, though. Witness of Tomorrow is going to get in there. We've got 6 mana up now, so we can play a Naiad and crack our Omen of the Sea. Getting towards the point they're going to have to flunge at us. But if they don't find lethal, we definitely crack back for lethal. Only need to get one of our creatures through alongside Witness of Tomorrows to kill them. Venomous Aerophant, a death-touching blocker. Pretty good, but not in the sky. Self-mill some very good cards. Mire's Grasp, Warbriar Blessing, and Return to Nature there. All 3 of those would have essentially killed Witness of Tomorrows. So they're going to attack with Grey Merchant. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attackers against 4 blockers here. So if we attack all next turn, it's just lethal if they don't play another creature here. So I'm going to take it. Fingers crossed, no creature from them. Some kind of instant potentially here. Got a Scophos Maze Warden coming up. That's not worth it. Another Ichthyomorphosis. So, I mean, on board, if we all attack, it's lethal. But they have Timuret. No, that's right, they have Timuret here. How does that gain life? Exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards, gain 1 for each creature exiled this way. There are no creature cards in graveyards. On board, we have lethal. 4, 5, 6 attackers. Let's just get bold with it, whatever. See what they've got here. I have a feeling it's just Timuret's ability, which doesn't save them, because there's no first strike here to get a creature into graves. They have an instant speed removal spell in hand, and they've got us here. But if they had that, they could close it out anyway, just killing Witness. Alright. That is going to be 3-0 for the Flash deck. Here we are now in round 4. We're doing great so far. 3-0. And this is a pretty excellent start. Careless Celebrant on turn 2, Dreamstalker Manticore on turn 3, Arena Trickster on turn 4, and then when we start casting instants like our Omen of the Sea, we are just popping off. Playing against a white-green deck here, they've got a Traveler's Amulet down to grab any basic land from their deck whenever they sacrifice it. The Birth of Melodus is the play. That will grab them planes, put it in their hand, and that will give them a 0/4 defender next turn, and they'll gain 2 life. Pretty annoying card. Just a big old blocker. Gonna be hard to get through, but luckily, Dreamstalker Manticore has exactly enough power to attack into a 0/4 defender. Illyrios is not a bad draw. I'm going to play a combat trick to kill my Manticore here. Is that the plan? Let's see. Be a 1-for-1 trade. That's probably fine. Pretty much, yeah, they're going to play Omen of the Sea to trade into it. Pretty annoying. But learn about some more of the cards in the format. Drop our Arena Trickster. Opponent choosing whether or not they want to scry before they draw here. That was a no. They are on green, white, and blue. And they still have the Traveler's Amulet for whatever color they need. Now they have All-Seed of Life's Bounty, which works as a counterspell for my first removal spell I play. They can use that to protect anything they want. Okay, this music's a little too excited for me right now. Just vibing over here. Just vibing. Get a 3/2. We're not going to attack into a 0/4 well. I mean, I guess we can kill their All-Seed if they don't do another trick on us by attacking in with both, but it's just a 1-for-1 trade of Celebrant into All-Seed. That's not the craziest thing ever. I'm just gonna hold up our Omen of the Sea and get a counter on our Arena Trickster in the future. So your opponent's gotten some pretty great value off of the Omen of the Sun. Managed to use that one card to kill our Manticore and scry 2. And now, of course, with the Manticore not on the board, we can't just blow up All-Seed with Omen of the Sea getting cast here. Probably should have just played very, very defensively with the Manticore, because its ability is very good to keep on the board. Ooh, easy scries to the bottom here. And a third island was the card third from the top. Opponent's on 4 color here, green, blue, black, and white. They still have the Traveler's Amulet at the ready when they need it. I should have put a stop on my upkeep so I could consider scrying if I wanted to. Worked out fine that we didn't, though. So our 4/4 can attack into their 0/4, and we're holding up a counter spell now, which is nice. Sure. Get your mana. Goes to their hand, so it's not going to allow them to kill Trickster here. They are 5 color. White, blue, black, red, and green. Alright. Yeah, we just passed the turn, holding up Omen of the Sea and Whirlwind Denial. Scola Grove Dancer, a 2/2. Alright, you got it. Okay, so no reason to counter anything. Let's just get our Scry 2 here. And keep attacking with our 4/4 Arena Trickster. Oh, that's a couple more lands to put on the bottom. Definitely getting some good value off the Scries. Another land for us, though. Careless Celebrant is actually not a bad attacker anymore, because if it does trade into something, it'll trade into both their creatures. Sure. Just hold up a 3/2 to block. Trades with anything they try to attack in with. Okay, so we're killing both their creatures here, just losing one of ours. Pretty fine by me. Oh yeah, I forgot they could do that. So we're trading Celebrants into the All-Seed. Which is something I was okay with doing in the past. Yeah, we just allow it. Yeah, that's actually still fine. It's not as good of an attack as I thought it was going to be, but I was in the past considering making that kind of attack. Getting the All-Seed off the board is good. It makes our Ichthyomorphosis actually matter. Otherwise, they could have just... They could save anything from Ichthyomorphosis whenever they want. Which is very bad for us. Alright, so they're doing some self-mill with the Grove Dancer. 23 cards in their library right now. Nothing scary going on still. Still all good to just keep getting in with the Trickster. And we've got another one as a backup here. Just keep doing Arena Trickster stuff. Just a solid body. Solid beat stick. Solid body. That is a great body. I wish I had a body like that. Arena Trickster is yoked. Alright, so some more self-mill off the Grove Dancers to gain some life, and unfortunately our opponent has flooded out hard, which means our Whirlwind Denials are very unlikely to actually do anything. As you can see, since they got to kill our first Arena Trickster, which means we now can no longer attack into their 0/4 wall. I could spend a Whirlwind Denial just to turn this into a 4/4, but that does not seem worth it. Am I making this 0/4 wall a 0/1 fish? Is that really where we're at? Fine. Fine, world, if this is where we're at, it's where we're at. This is what we gotta do to try to close out this game. Then let's do it. Alright, tons of self-mill going on. Guessing they're trying to hit some powerful escape cards. Okay, and they're gonna go for the chump block with that 0/1. I'm not gonna play the Naiad. I'd like to hold up Whirlwind Denial. I might be in denial of how good this card's gonna be for us here, but I don't want to tap out of being able to cast it. Yeah, they have to cast like a 6-mana spell for this to be relevant. Literally, it's gotta be a 6-mana spell. Even a 5-mana spell I can't counter at this point. It's getting rough. It's getting rough out here for Whirlwind Denial. You can cast a Maze Warden now and still hold it up. Should probably attack with this 3/2. I mean, it trades into Grove Dancer, sure, but then I still get to attack with Illyrios. Probably not playing as aggressively as I should with Illyrios. Okay, that is another land for our opponent. You know what? I'm just going to admit defeat at this point. There's no way Whirlwind Denial is going to counter anything. I should just play Naiad. Our opponent has just so much mana. They're just drowning in mana. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have to cast a 7-mana spell for us to be able to counter it. I could counter the Scry too, but then I don't get a counter on Trickster. Since we'd be doing it during our turn and not our opponent's. Yeah, our opponent has to play a 7-mana spell for us to be able to counter it with Whirlwind Denial, so let's just play a Naiad. They scry both to the top. That's not good at all for us. I mean, theoretically, they're only drawing 1 per turn, though, so they're probably still only just casting 1 big thing, and then the turn after that, casting 1 big thing. The Akroan War, that costs way less than 7 mana, so it definitely resolves, and I think it just wins the game. They're going to Wrath our whole board. Yeah, they force all of our creatures to attack and then have each tapped creature deal damage to itself equal to its power. Yeah, that straight up just wins for our opponent. We cannot beat that. I mean, I guess the Naiads work fine, but they get eaten by the Scophos Maze Warden anyway. I guess it only is really going to kill the Arena Trickster. I probably should not play another Naiad because it'll just get forced to attack. Although they could only kill one of them next turn anyway. Heliod's Pilgrim is very, very good. Grab any aura from their deck, so grab removal if they need it, grab a big buff spell if they need it, grab a counter spell if they need it with the hexproof spell. Removal it is, Dreadful Apathy it is. We don't have the mana to counter that because they're going to have 4 mana up even if they cast it right now. Maybe if they cast it and try to exile the creature that they enchant, then we get there. We get there. Wait, no, we don't get there. Because we would just counter that effect, and if we counter that effect, then Dreadful Apathy would not be exiled. Dreadful Apathy would just stay on the board if you counter the effect, so it doesn't actually accomplish anything. They're not even going to play the Dreadful Apathy because they've got the board wipe for everything currently on board. Yeah, I mean, we're going to lose this game, but it's going to take about a year. Despise games like this. It's so sad. Opponent basically won when they hit a Crone War, but it's going to take a lot more turns for them to actually win. Surprised they didn't buff the Scophos Maze Warden to make it die right there. I guess they get to wait and make it die after it hits us. Oh yeah, they just wait and do it right here. They didn't have to do it during combat. Which is fine. Opponent could still mill out if they don't find a way to actually kill us. I mean, they're stopping us from killing them, but they need to find a way to kill us. Loathsome Chimera is a way to do that. That'll be a 5/3, and it's just going to keep coming back. They've got more than enough cards in grave to keep doing that over and over. A 5/2, not a 5/3. Staggering Insight, that's not good. Actually, it makes our opponent draw more cards, so it's actually fine. It's not a May ability they have to draw. They still have 13 cards, though. But yeah, the lifelink is huge. Here comes the Chimera. Well, we get to accomplish one thing with Whirlwind Denial one time. Just cast it again next turn, though. There we go. Glimpse of Freedom is actually pretty big here. Can actually do some things. Thirst for Meaning. Accidentally minimized Arena. So we do that. Make sure we can cast our Phoenix if we draw it. We don't have a double blue 3-mana card, though. Didn't draw the Phoenix. That's rough. I actually need the land to cast this Trickster. That's rough. It's just going to get Dreadful Apathy anyway, so whatever. I can hit for 2, but then they gain 3, so let's not just double block the lifelinker. It does make them draw more cards, so that it is a real question whether or not we want them to hit us with a Grove Dancer. Probably not, though. I guess they're not going to give us a choice, they're just going to Apathy. Yep. Which means Arena Trickster gets to stay on the board. Potentially. Theoretically. Draw the card off Nessian Wanderer. Now they're going to draw the card off Grove Dancer because I am not going to block a 3/3 with my 2/3. Down to 10 cards in their library. They go down to 9 cards now. Here comes the Loathsome Chimera, which we can trade our Naiad into. And let's get a glimpse here. We've got 11 cards in grave, so we can use it twice. So let's use it once right here. We'll use it again when we have Arena Trickster on the board. So Trickster gets at least 1 counter. Ooh, Chimera. Ooh, Infuriate. Well, now we have a lot of choices what we want to do at instant speed, but we're definitely playing Trickster and Chimera. And then we're gonna Glimpse of Freedom or Infuriate at instant speed, depending on if an Infuriate is gonna turn combat in our favor or not. Alright, so we still kind of have a shot here. It feels like. I mean, those were some pretty good draws, and we still have Glimpse of Freedom. With enough cards to cast it one more time. Do they have the Flicker of Fate, Dreadful Apathy combo in their 5-color deck? Well, seems good. Nylea's Forerunner coming down. They are refusing to draw cards off Nessian Wanderer now because they have 8 cards in their library. I can't win combat against that Chimera, but I can get it back into their graveyard, which they'll still have enough cards to recast it one more time. I can win combat against the Grove Dancer with an Infuriate, but I don't know if I want to. When they've got 8 cards left in the library, that's probably more than enough to kill us, even if we let them keep drawing cards. Yeah, I feel like I probably am supposed to just try to win combat against Grove Dancer here and trade with Chimera. There's Phoenix of Ash coming up. Yeah, getting rid of lifelinker's big. Oop. They have 6 power on their board. And here's the Phoenix of Ash, which we can buff once. 6 power on their board. They hit us for 6. We hit them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We hit them for 6 right now. Next turn we have them added a 4 plus 4. Pump twice. For 6, 8. We hit for 6, then for 8. That doesn't kill them. Do we hold on to Phoenix of Ash to block kill Forerunner here? Because we can buff it on blocks instead? I guess? Doesn't feel right. But we don't kill them in 2 swings here, and we definitely die in 2 swings if we don't kill their creatures. If they just have more removal here, we're definitely losing the race. Yeah, I mean, you got it. That's just another Dreadful Apathy and a 4/4 flyer all on one card there. That was a frustrating game. That was a really, really long one. But Crow and War for a big 3 or 4 for 1 was pretty big. And our hand didn't line up super well against theirs. A deck that has a ton of ways to ramp up mana. I mean, an early game Birth of Melodis, Traveler's Amulet, and double of the Green Omen to pull out even more lands. It makes our Whirlwind Denial just horrible in that matchup. Yeah, just drew some of our slower cards earlier in the game, just kind of scrying and chilling. Definitely let the 5-color value deck just play around too long and assemble a lot of big 2 and 3 for 1s with cards like a Crow and War and Dreadful Apathy, Flicker Fate, the 2-mana 1/3 Constellation card as well, Nessian Wanderer. Just got overwhelmed by card advantage after a slow start. Here we are now in round 5 with our blue-red flash deck. Bit of a slower hand again. We don't do anything until turn 3. Hopefully not a rematch of last round, though. Because once we hit our 4 mana, we are doing some big stuff. I'm actually going to hold on to Glimpse for this Trickster, I think. Stinging Lionfish is the first play from our opponent. Ichthyomorphosis is our draw. I'd rather just keep playing creatures for now. I don't really think I need to Ichthyomorphosis a 2-1. Plus it's a fish already, so we're not really getting value from making it a fish. It already is a fish. We do make it a gross fish, though. Sad little floppy fish. Wow, 3 color holding up the counterspell turn 3 seems good. Figuring out if they want to trade for our 3-2 or not. They are going to take the trade. Untap Illyrios next turn. Alright. You know, I'm just not going to play anything until they're tapped out. I was like, I could Maze Warden here. And they counter. Well, that was a pretty good draw. We get to spend all of our mana even though we held off here. Keep sending Illyrios in. They've not dealt with Illyrios. So I can Omen of the Sea and Scry with the other Omen. So I can still do things here without getting got by a counterspell. So I'm just going to do that. If I can make their Deny the Divine a dead spell, I'm going to work to do that. Wow, their hand must be straight nothing but counters. I mean, these are both good cards. I don't even need to scry here because I know what I'm hitting is good, so I will not scry here. Alright, we kind of have to start just playing our weakest spell every turn now, but we're probably going to have to run through like 4 counter spells this game. And so there's a 0% chance that they don't have at least like 2 Deny the Divines in hand. Good God, yeah, this is a matchup. It's going to be a little while again. Weakest card in hand, let's go. There it is. Their hand's nothing but Deny the Divines. They do die to Illyrios eventually. It's another pass the turn. Scry 2, let's go. Naiad is pretty great because then even if they counter Trickster, we're putting a card on board. Well, they're not countering this Trickster then. But that's a Mega Bomb if I've ever seen one. It's a kill on spot flyer plus a instant speed card, so you get to eat a creature when it hits the board. So it's like a guaranteed 2-for-1. Hits the board, blocks, and kills one of my creatures, plus I need to spend a removal spell on it or it's going to kill me. There's Ichthyomorphosis from our opponent. The opponent is just on the hard control deck here. They're down to only 2 mana though, so they can't counter this Chimera. Or the Shoal Kraken. I don't have an instant speed spell to play during my opponent's turn when a Chimera comes down, so I might as well Shoal Kraken into Chimera to draw discard here. Get rid of the land. And pass the turn. Stern Dismissal. Shoal Kraken back to our hand so they can spend their 3rd Deny the Divine on it. Yeah, pass turn from opponent. Really makes it look like that is the line they're going for here. 7 mana here. We could go for an Illyrios. I'm actually kind of interested in just Illyrios Naiad. Like, if they're just going to hold up the counter for Shoalcrack and we'll just play our other spells and beat them up with them. Omen of the Sun. Get a couple 1/1 chump blockers. Gain a couple life and scry 2. Both to the bottom. There's Eutropia the Twice Favored, so if they get some Constellation triggers, that can be quite big. Ooh, Phoenix of Ash coming up is very nice. So probably just Shoalcrack and let it get countered so Phoenix of Ash can't get countered, because if Phoenix of Ash gets exiled, that's a really bad sign for us. If they have another Omen, they're going to give one of their creatures flying at instant speed and kill our Chimera, so I actually like going for the main phase Shoalcracken to see if it's another counterspell. It's not another counterspell, so they could have an Omen here. And if they have an Omen, Eutropia gets flying and eats our Mischievous Chimera. I mean, we make them spend it this way and then they won't have it for Phoenix of Ash. Okay. No Omen, maybe? No Omen, we kill Eutropia. Super happy with that. There's a Caryatid. We may have just ran them out of interaction now. I mean, they have 4 mana up now, so they could have a 4 mana counterspell that they didn't have before, but the 4 mana counterspell doesn't exile. It's no big deal if they do counter the Phoenix of Ash. Send everybody in. Alright, double block the 3/2, buff the Phoenix. And that is lethal. Alright. Yeah, they just ran out of the interaction and stuff. I was always worried that game. If they had like a Wrath or something to really help their kind of control build there, that could have been a pretty disgusting match. Luckily for us, just going wide with a bunch of small spells after we kind of run them out of counters will grab us the win, and we'll be at 4-1, getting decent value out of this no matter what. Here we are in round 6 with our mono red aggro deck. Incendiary Oracle turn 2 into Phoenix of Ash turn 3. Don't mind if I do. Playing against another very aggressive deck though. Pious Wayfarer is always a terrible sign if you're not ready to play against an aggro deck, because this thing will hit hard very quickly. You have to have a lot of enchantments to get those Constellation triggers, though. So it lends itself to a very powerful, aggressive deck with a lot of cheap auras, like Setessan Training and stuff. Well, was being a little bit of a prankster when I said we're playing mono red aggro, but Arena is in on the joke. Still mono red here. There we go. Blue source at the ready if we need it. Don't think we really do, and I'm pretty okay with the Incendiary Oracle trades here. We don't have any instants to play for the Manticore, so kind of just like Phoenix of Ash, send the team in. Looks like we're hitting for 4. Opponent thinks they can out-aggro us, which they very well may be able to do, because they put an aura on the hero of the game. That's going to be horrible. Heliod's Punishment. So that is a temporary pacifism effect, but if you're in an aggro deck, that's going to last long enough. I think I need to remove all 4 task counters on it. Yeah. So in 4 turns from now, it can actually attack and block again. What are we doing now? Do I play just a 2/3 to block well, or do I play my 4/2 to threaten good attacks? I don't think I want my 4/2 to get in combat. I'm kind of okay with my 2/3 doing so, though. I actually don't even know if I'm attacking, actually. Maybe we just play the Naiad and pass. Just hold up our blocks. Kind of just waiting to save Phoenix of Ash from this removal spell. Iros' Blessing, that's massive here because it's going to trigger the hero and the Wayfarer and kill one of our creatures. And Oracle's too small to block profitably, so we go to 6. Witness of Tomorrows is the draw, which is a good card. But we have to tap out to cast that, and it won't be big enough to cast, or to block and trade with hero anyway, so I think I'd rather just play Manticore, just big enough to block and trade with hero by itself. We just gotta hope our opponents ran out of gas here. Otherwise, they've just got the curve out, and we're out of it. It's pretty good. Pious Wayfarer buff will occur. Alright, they lower our board to just Phoenix of Ash, but we can lower their board to just Daxos here. So we'll go for it. They have one card in hand, one Daxos on board. There's our Witness of Tomorrows, big enough to block Daxos all day long. Archon of Sun's Grace is the next play from our opponent. No enchantment to immediately follow it up with, though. So they will not get a 2/2 Pegasus here, which means Ichthyomorphosis can deal with that. We've gotten rid of the punishment, so Phoenix of Ash can start attacking in next turn. And we can start attacking with the Witness right now. Things are looking up here. This may be a stabilize. There's a Lyrios coming up as well, which is phenomenal. Send in the sky, keep our ground blockers to be safe. Kill them next turn in the sky. Just a double buff on Phoenix of Ash will get there. Another land from our opponent. Send in that lethal in the sky. And it'll get there. The stabilize against the very good Boros aggro deck there. They just flooded out a bit though. That was pretty lucky for us, but I think we could have still got there if they drew another creature or two. But removal would have been killer. Definitely would have lost that one. Scary game there, but that is going to push us up into 5-1 now. So we are definitely in the money, in the value off of this draft. Here we are now in round 7 of this Theros Beyond Death Premier Draft with our blue-red flash deck. Mischievous Chimera putting in work this game. If it doesn't immediately get shot down, our opponent is on mono red so far, so they could very well just have the red omen, the omen of the forge, to blow it up immediately.
Our butt is clenching right now.
My apologies about that. I had a Twitch tab open in the background and somebody just got raided. I hate that if you pause a stream and then they end up raiding another stream, it'll just autoplay instead of start paused. We might die here. Another very good Boros aggro deck. Turn 2 Incendiary Oracle into turn 3 Anax is a horrifying start. We're probably playing Naiad here over Glimpse of Freedom, right? Yeah, Naiad's a fine blocker for Oracle. It's going to force them to spend some mana to get the kill here, which is one more mana they can't use, making their board better. No! Wow. Now we see Glory Bearers be very good, making it so whenever one of their creatures attacks, it gets +0/+1, which means the Incendiary Oracle attack is pretty free now. Even next turn when they have the mana to buff and kill something with it, they can still just get that attack in real easy. So if I play the Skophos Maze Warden, sure, it's a solid size blocker, a 3/4, but then I don't get to cast Glimpse of Freedom. That being said, Glimpse of Freedom doesn't do a boatload for us, does a damage to our opponent, scries 1, draws 1 off of Chimera. I feel like having a 3/4 body down is probably just better, but Glory Bears is a big problem for us here, raising their toughness, making it really hard for us to kill their creatures. Alright, well, tap out for Scophos War Leader. We know they don't have any tricks here, which makes a double block on an axe pretty easy. They kill Scophos Maze Warden, but we kill an axe. If they attack both, I'll probably take 4 and just kill Oracle. But if they attack one, you can kill my Maze Warden. Does give them 2 Satyr tokens, though, which is not great. But now they won't get Satyr tokens in the future. Okay, Chimera's not doing much on blocks, but our board state is getting a lot worse than theirs. They are able to attack in very aggressively from now on. War Leader and the Oracle are going to come in here. Could double block Oracle, but they can double pump it. Even if they double pump it, they're only killing 1 Naiad, so I think double block on Oracle is probably the play here. They just kill 1 Naiad, and they have to spend mana to do that, which means they're not casting more spells from hand, or at least not casting as many as they theoretically could from hand. Okay, land, Hero of the Games. Alright, Glimpse of Freedom. Deal damage to them, scry 1, draw 1. Incendiary Oracle. An Oracle of our own is fine. I think we have to keep it. I think we have to guarantee a solid draw here, and Oracle is a solid draw. I mean, we play it and we have enough to buff it twice, so it's a 4-power blocker, so we could double block and kill War Leader. Double blocking with Naiad and the Oracle, but then they kill both of our creatures in that trade. We take 7 from the other creatures. Yeah, that's nowhere near big enough to actually win us the game. Probably have to get rid of it and draw the next card, which is a land, and then an Illyrios. These are both probably worse, unfortunately. We definitely can't attack with the Chimera anymore. It's gonna have to get used to block poorly. It's kind of insane how much work Glory Bears has put in here. Oh my god, Sentinel's Eyes on Hero of the Games to give the whole field +1/+0. Make this attack incredibly close to lethal. It's not gonna be lethal because we can just block the other 2 cards and take 6, but it's still a really bad attack for us. Incredibly painful. And I could triple block War Leader, I guess. Take 9 and go to 1. They have 6 power, so they get to kill 2 of our 3 creatures that way. So they kill everything but the 3/2. Doesn't seem worth it. I guess we only lose 1 creature, double blocking Glory Bears, which is solid. But then I'd have to chump block Hero of the Games anyway, so I'm going to lose 2 creatures either way. But then if I do that, I have to chump the Glory Bears, which means I'm losing 3 creatures instead of 2. Yeah, we probably just want to lose just 2 creatures here. But losing my 3/2 basically makes it so I didn't lose a creature. So if we do this, we kind of just lose 1 creature. Right? We lose the Chimera or the Naiad, but then we untap our 2/3. Yeah, this is probably our best block. I mean, it's not great. I'm still in a mountain of pain. But I think it's the best we've got. And they've got another creature to follow it up with. That is super painful. Well, we have 3 blockers for their 3 creatures, but War Leader's ability kills us here. War Leader's ability puts us to 1, so we still play it out. Because War Leader can sacrifice Sentinel Eyes. No, yeah, War Leader's ability actually kills us here, because they can sacrifice Sentinel's Eyes and then they can just recast it from the grave. If they couldn't recast Sentinel's Eyes, then War Leader's ability wouldn't kill us, but the fact that they can means we're incredibly dead. Because they sacrifice Sentinel's Eyes and then recast it to put it on Hero of the Games, which buffs their entire field. And then if anything gets in, it hits us for 4. And obviously, one of their creatures having menace means we'd need 4 blockers to block everything. We're incredibly dead. Very good Boros aggro stuff from our opponent. Just put us on the back foot from the start there and could not recover. Here we are now in round 8. No matter what, we've got 5 wins under the belt. A nice record. Get a net positive of gems here. So yeah, happy with whatever happens here, but our hand looks pretty good, so I'm hopeful this can take us all the way here. We got an Incendiary Oracle into Illyrios and Raptured. Pretty great turn 2, turn 3 curve. If we hit a 4th mana, we even curve out into a Skophos Maze Warden, which isn't the scariest card ever, but adds to our board state. And then once we're out of stuff to do, we've got a Thirst for Meaning to draw some more cards. Alright, opponent forced into the keep here, I think. Alright, opponent has arrived, and they are on a white deck here. White-red Boros aggro, round 3, let's go! Birth of Melodis is not a very aggressive card, though. It's going to get them a land, spit out a 0/4 blocker, and gain them some life. It is a powerful card, though, so sometimes it'll make the cut even in more aggressive builds. Yep, that's Boros aggro if I've ever seen it. Hero of the Nyxborn is the next play. A 2/2 and a 1/1 all-in-one card, plus every time they target the hero, their whole board gets +1/+0. Oracle just gets blocked by the 0/4. We'll just get our Illyrios down here. Apparently I'm a Johnny now. My avatar got messed up. My sleeves are good though. Still got the scrolls. Iroas's Blessing, very, very good with the +1/+0 effects like they have on their Hero of the Nyxborn. Color Reflection, attack in, Oracle can't block well, we take 4. Bit of flooding out here as well. Game is not looking particularly good for us, but a 3/4 can block that hero now if they don't target it again. Dreadful Apathy, shut off the Skophos Maze Warden. We don't have good blocks anymore. We're just going to Thirst for Meaning right now because our only spell we can cast is 1 mana. Got another land. Let's discard some of these. This is way more than enough. And hold on to Infuriate. Or a single buff of the Oracle is enough to block the hero. Got some really good cards for casting during our opponent's turn now. I think I like playing Dreamstalker Manticore first, so I can blow up one of their creatures with my Infuriate during their turn. That was a horrible auto tap, though. I should have tapped double blue. Should not have let auto tapper do its thing. That way we would have been able to hold on to Infuriate and the Incendiary Oracle's buff ability. Triumph of Anax. That's going to threaten some big attacks. Going to make their 1/1 a 2/1 here for now. And I guess they're going to just try to do some big stuff off of it later. Okay, we'll hold on to Infuriate for now still, I think. So now we can set up an Arena Trickster. And now our Infuriate's going to put a counter on the Trickster and blow up their 1/1. So Infuriate will be very, very good during their turn. I guess I could attack with Dreamstalker Manticore here. And I could only trade with the hero, but I don't actually want to take that trade right now. Not until I've cast Infuriate and gotten my value off the 1 damage from Manticore. Really hoping that they get like a good aura to put on the Hero of the Nyxborn so that they go for a big all attack here. And then Infuriate can not only just send 1 damage to the 3/1, but also make one of my creatures big enough to block the Hero of the Nyxborn well. That would be ideal. They're going to send in with just the Hero of the Nyxborn. Played a little safe here and throw a Lyrios in there, because a Lyrios will be big enough to beat it with an Infuriate, and this way I'm not putting Arena Trickster or Manticore at risk. But I am still getting my instant speed spell value here. Okay, so they're just going to get first strike. Yeah, that's fine. So they beat Illyrios. But they don't have first strike anymore. They don't have the first strike trick in hand, and we've cleared out the rest of the board, so now these 4/2s, these 4-power creatures can start getting in very easily. Could even send in with the Oracle, but I'm not going to spend 4 mana to double buff it against the 0/4. I guess I could threaten too by attacking with it. They're going to hit pretty hard next turn with the Triumph of an Axe. They're going to give something +3/+0 and trample till end of turn, so here the Nyxborn is going to attack as an 8/3. But we'll just block it with our 3/2 Reflection token. It looks like we killed a 0/4 wall here. Pretty okay with that. And sure enough, here comes the 8/3 Hero of the Nyxborn with trample. Another land from our opponent, and Hero of the Games is the play. And they're just going to pass the turn, no attack with that 8/3. They can trade it into our Arena Trickster. I think we're just attacking with everybody, because they're not going to have trample next turn, they're just going to fight something off. So since they can just fight something anyway, I'd rather just attack with everything that can win combat here. Or not win combat, but trade in combat. See if we can't clear their board. Should have played my mountain first, that way I could quadruple pump my Incendiary Oracle if I really wanted to. I don't think that would be particularly likely. Probably do want to cast another Naiad here, but it gives us the option. No reason not to have that option available. Alright, we're going to take some trades here. And do a little bit of extra damage to our opponent. So now the Triumph of an Axe will not get any fight value. So we just went for the trades straight up. So now as long as they don't have like Storm God's Wrath or something, the 4 mana, 4 damage to all creatures, I think we've got this on lock. Very big board state. I guess Shatter the Sky would work as well, that just destroys all creatures. But without a Wrath effect, I think we're getting there this game. Land and an Underworld Breach, well, 7 mana, they can cast whatever they want for that 7. Dreadful Apathy, Hero of the Nyxborn. It's actually pretty big here. Did you have to exile 3 cards to do it? 1, 2, 3. They've got 7 engraves. They can actually only cast 1 spell here. So here the Nyxborn it is. I'll attack again, get a bunch of trades on board. Should have played the land pre-combat again for Incendiary Oracle. Would have been 1 more point of damage here. If they let the Incendiary Oracle through, they might trade the Hero of the Nyxborn for it. It's probably what I would do. I wouldn't trade the 3/2, so it probably won't matter. I don't think Incendiary Oracle is going to make it through this turn. Okay, cool. So it did not matter, which means we actually do get to just hold on to this land for our Thirst for Meaning if we have another one. Actually, I think we cut the second copy. Yeah, we don't have another Thirst for Meaning, but we do have Shoal Kraken that can let us draw and discard cards. If we hit that and some enchantments, that would be quite a while from now, though. At least 2 more turns. We'd have to draw the Shoal Kraken and the enchantment to cast. Alright, and there's the concession from our opponent. That's going to put us to 6 and 2, allowing us into the final boss here for round 9. Win or lose, the final game of Magic for the day. Alright, here we are now in the final round. Mischievous Chimera turn 2 is a pretty great start. We've got a Naiad afterwards and a Glimpse of Freedom to cast in our opponent's turn. Pretty excited about how things are starting here. Our opponent starts with Eidolon of Philosophy. They're on a blue deck. Mono blue so far, just double blue. Another Eidolon of Philosophy, alright. They are very into the Eidolons. Got a Lyrios here. I could Lyrios or Naiad. If I hit another land, the next turn I can Naiad and still do an instant. I think I would rather a Lyrios here. A 3-2 is pretty threatening against a couple 1-2s. I guess a 2-3 is actually better. Yeah, the 2-3 actually attacks better against their board than a 3-2 would. So I'll actually go for the Naiad here, just right now. Incendiary Oracle, so we did not hit another land, but we can cast the Oracle and hold up one of our 2 mana instants thanks to Naiad's ability. Alright, hitting for 4, they're down to 14. We'll drop our Incendiary Oracle and hold up to our 1 mana instance. Get some good value off the Chimera here. Pass turn, alright, Glimpse of Freedom it is. Scry 1, draw 1. Infuriate is the draw. That's pretty good when they're as low as they are, and it's another cheap instant, but we already have Omen of the Sea. I actually think I want lands more for our Witness of Tomorrows and such. Another Naiad. Still not a land. A bit rough. Now we can't cast a spell and cast one during our opponent's turn. Oracle doesn't attack in well here. Now I kind of wish I kept the Infuriate. If I wasn't going to hit a land anyway in the next card, then Infuriate actually would have been pretty fine. Let's push the aggressive here. Attack with everybody. Let Oracle trade into one of these Eidolons. And then just drop an Illyrios to get as much power on the board as possible, I think. Hopefully no counter from our opponent. They didn't have one last turn, so I'm not expecting one. Alright, yeah, we got a lot of power on this board. They're down to 9, and they're just going to scoop them up. That's going to be our first 7-win run in the Theros Beyond Death Premier Draft. It's a very quick final game. Their opponent just stuck on 1 mana, stuck on 3 lands. They could have been a mono-color deck. It is possible in this format. There are some Devotion rares that are pretty powerful that could push you in that direction, but I'm going to assume they were probably a 2-color deck stuck off a color of mana. And we just had a pretty good aggressive start to punish them for that keep, so 7 and 2, it'll be a nice 7-win run from this blue-red flash deck. Were there any over or underperformers today? The big overperformer today was Arena Trickster. That card was really bad in the last deck that I played and really good here. Card was actually really exciting almost every time I got it. That's kind of was our big kind of win condition, just our big beat stick there. Technically, though, when you look at the games that we won, most of the time we were actually just killing them with flyers like Phoenix of Ash and Mischievous Chimera, but Arena Trickster put in some work as well. But yeah, these two I already knew they were fantastic and they played fantastically. Phoenix of Ash was probably the #1 best card we ended up playing, the card that won us the most games in terms of how many times it was drawn. Oracle was a phenomenal 2-drop. Celebrant was alright. I actually think I liked Oracle better than Celebrant, weirdly enough. The Illyrioses were fine. I don't think I liked them as much as I thought I would, or as much as I used to. Dreamstalker Manticore was great. The Naiads were great. Overall, super solid deck. Had a lot of fun with it. And it was a pretty good time. So 7 and 2 for today's draft, but that is going to end today's video. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. These will let the YouTube algorithm know to send you some more of these videos in your recommended feeds. But as always, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.